Now, with this sentence, this is a topic sentence for the crucible. From the collective human experience of facing hysteria and paranoia, who can jump in? You should be shouting at your screen, oh, he's doubled up, he's listed. Correct, you have listed. You've said two words that are basically the same thing, hysteria and paranoia. And yet every student wants to do this all throughout their essay. Why does everyone want to use two words that mean essentially the same thing right next to each other? I know why, deep down psychologically. I think I know why. Because it makes you feel like you're saying more. But less is more. You want to be able to articulate your point in as fewer words as possible. And yet here, you're trying to extend what you're saying by just adding another word that means exactly the same thing. Hysteria, paranoia. Focus on one of those words and make it a more specific phrase. From the collective, from the collective human experience of facing, mass hysteria. That's fine, comma. Paranoia, hysteria, they're the same thing. Let's not kid ourselves. We're just making it seem like we're saying more, but you're not. I can see right through it. And so can the teachers and the markers. Because if I read that, I'm like, oh, you're kind of just giving me very vague words, buzzwords. I like specific phrases. I like phrases. Go for one phrase over multiple words, multiple terms, okay? That's key. Then you say human behaviors can be influenced through false accusations. Here we go. Evidence and suspicion, ultimately affecting an individual's ability to perceive themselves as well as the world around them. Huge list, 3 more things: false accusations, evidence, and suspicion. You need to convert that into one meaningful, specific phrase. You need to remove the listing. You were giving me lists of single words. I want a phrase of multiple words. I want one phrase of multiple words, right? So human behavior, what type of human behavior? I mean, I guess you could say that if you're going to be very specific afterwards, but I always ask myself, what type? Go through your whole essay and just ask that every time you say a key word or a buzzword. Have you really been as specific as you could be? Human behaviors can be influenced through false accusations. I would just say, like, instead of false accusations, evidence, suspicion, you say human behaviors can be influenced through a fear. It's really like, what are they really fearing? It's a fear of alienation from the community. It's a fear of basically damage to their reputation, right? We don't want to make that sound too legal or technical, but you basically want to say something like that. And then you say comma. It's getting a bit clunky. You have a lot of commas. Guys, try and reduce the amount of commas. Try and just say what you want to say in less words and not have too many of those clauses with the commas. Then you say ultimately affecting an individual's ability to perceive themselves as well as the world around them. It's like, again, you're throwing in that huge phrase that was in the question earlier. If I go back up to the question, let me see if we can find that here. Composers challenge responders to reflect on their understanding of themselves and the world. You're just saying how they perceive themselves and the world around them. You're not actually giving me an insight. So what can you say specifically about this point that relates to how they are perceiving themselves? Like, it's also about like how it affects the responder. So what is it forcing us to do? It's compelling the responder to do what? To reevaluate our role as, complicit agents, in a broader tyrannical regime. Or, it compels responders to question their subservience to tyrannical mandates or totalitarian mandates. Why are we so subservient to these things? Okay, we have to question that. So give me something specific. It questions the individual's responsibility in the world to question their subservience to oppressive / totalitarian / tyrannical regimes that serve to disempower rather than empower. Okay, you need to have phrases like that are meaningful. Don't list, just give me one powerful concept there about how the individual is affected, how the responder is affected. How are we reconsidering our role within the world?